Sorry, guys. Hi, everybody. It's Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet to do so. And if you get anything from my work, connect the dot, an epiphany, a mind-blown moment, a new author to read, a new author to explore, artwork. You can check everything out in the comments. I have hair in my mouth. That's wonderful. Down in the description of this video, if you would like. I'm starting to concoct a lot of these skulls with gems in them. I still have my pyramids. You can check my work out at AllyKatzkreations211.com. Doggy portrait, I have to get the other ones done. And get in touch with those people because I would love for that to be in the police station hanging up. Sorry, this light's bothering me. I got party lights. This life is supposed to be celebrated. It's a party. Hi, everybody. I'm going to do a Oahspe read today, the book of Lika, the first book of Bond, the book of Bond, Arcabon. Sorry, there's my dyslexia shooting itself at me. I do want to apologize. I've been beyond crazily busy in a good way. I got job. What are those called? Like events, like a fair. I think they just want to see me in person because these people are wonky. Been filling out a lot of applications. Then all of a sudden I started getting really popular really damn quick and been appearing on a lot of shows recently the last week and a half. So I just finished a show earlier on Turn the Page with Janine. Go check that out. I'll leave the link in the description. Very spiritual, very amazing. And I'm very excited that I think finally my voice is being heard by more people. I think it's time. But we're going to get back to it. At least I try. I make every attempt every day to do some kind of video, and sometimes that doesn't happen. I have to give myself compassion. I'm being pulled in 1,000,005 directions, but that's a good thing. So for all the Oahspe listeners, I do apologize. I know it's been a while. As this book is a very challenging book for me to read. So, mind you, I'm dyslexic. I have a pencil to guide me, but that doesn't always work. I have teeth issues. I can speak clearly with words that I can project, and some of these words I can't. So just be mindful that I'm not a perfect reader. Not many people are, unless you're doing audiobooks, which I don't, and I would never do. But I want to thank everybody for giving me some grace and compassion for that. We're going to start with chapter 10, the book of the Arcabon, which is the lower book, and then we'll go to the top book. We'll see how this is a longer section, so I might cut it a little short in chapters, but we'll see. Jehovah said to Calypia, "Thou shalt remain with my chosen until they learn these rites, ceremonies, and doctrines, after which thou shalt go to another region whither I will lead thee, and thee teach the same things, and in the same way." And Calypia obeyed the commandments of the Great Spirit in all these things. In the 5th year of Calypia's preaching, the voice of Jehovah came to him, saying, "Behold, thy foster father is near death's door. Go thou to him and have the law of protection established before his death, and after his death, and when thou art king, thou shalt ratify the law and then advocate the throne." So Calypia returned to Varana, the king, who was ill with fever. The king said, "Oh, my son, I have feared I should die ere my eyes beheld thee. A few days more, and it will be over with me. Thou wilt be king. Bethink thee, what wouldst thou ask of me, whilst I may accomplish it?" Calypia said, "Call thy royal council and pass a law guaranteeing Brahmins, the Zarathustrians, faithless. The lands they have possessed and tilled are now dwelling upon to theirs forever." The king assented to this, and the law was enacted. And this was the first law granting land unto the faithless to be their own by any king in all the world. And the law stipulated that the faithless should worship in their own way, neither should they be impressed into any army as soldiers of war. After the law was established, Varana said unto Calypia, "I was wondering why thou didst not wait till thou wert king, and then enact the law thyself, and it could not be set aside during thy lifetime. I will die soon, and the law will die with me." Calypia answered, "I shall ratify the law on the day I ascend the throne, which is binding according to the rules of the ancients. Had I waited until I was king, then I had been bound, according to my religion, which is that no one individual possesseth land, save that he tilled, and then only by donation, from the community in which he dwelleth, and only during his lifetime, after which it reverteth to the community." Varana said, "Thou art wise, O my son. What is it that thou understandest not?" After the king rested a while, he said, "Calypia, thou hast often said thou hast seen the angels of heaven. Who sayest thou they are?" Calypia said, "Persons who once inhabited this earth. Some of them once lived on the stars." The king said, "Since thou sayest so, it must be so. I thought sometimes they might be different beings that dwell in the air, and neither dwelt here. Sayest thou, Calypia, all souls are immortal?" Calypia said, "They are so born into life. Nevertheless, not all inherit everlasting life. Even as the body goeth into destruction, so can the spirit of a man dissolve out of being. The fruit of them that have obtained to faith in every everlasting life is safe, but for them that have fallen from faith in everlasting life and from faith in the Creator, I pity them and their heirs." The king said, "Why do the oracles tell lies? They are the words of angels." Calypia said, "If a man will not think for himself, examine for himself, the Creator suffereth him to be the recipient of lies. He is a wise man who hath attained to disbelief in angels and men, for then he will turn to the Creator who is all truth. This is the beginning of the wisdom. Some fair men with studded souls, who look not about doing good in the world, required the serpent's fang in order to make them think." The king said, "I killed many men in my day. Sayest thou, I have sinned?" Calypia said, "Inquire thou of thy Creator. I am not thy judge, nor any man's." The king asked, "If a man be killed and his soul live, then the killing amounteth to little. We put away the body, but the soul may come back and retaliate. Is it not so?" Calypia said, "Yea, O king." The king reflected a while, and then he asked, "My son, can the spirits of them we have slain catch us in heaven and injure us?" Calypia said, "Yeah, O king." The king said, "And they, having been in heaven first, would have the advantage in battle. And if they go in gangs and have a leader, Satan, they might do great harm. Know thou, Calypia, I have a great secret for thy philosophy, which is, when death draweth near, we begin to shake in the soul as to what we have done all our lives. Sometimes I think of saying to Deus, 'Here, I will pray thee,' but then I remember I have no merchandise which he would accept. How strong we are in health and prosperity, and how weak in adversity and in death. sayest thou prayers would make my case stand better in heaven? Calliope said, I am not master in heaven, or, if I were, my love to thee would shield thee from all darkness. The king said, the priest saith, if I pay him money, he can intercede with Deus and to secure me a high seat in heaven. I think he falseth, for Deus oweth him nothing. Two things I have found even with my little wisdom, the caterer to the king and the caterer to Deus make great penance, but do little as to their promises. These two men, O my son, beware of them. I owe my greatness more to this discretion than to wisdom. They are at the bottom of all the wars and evils in the world. They can deceive even the gods, I am told. When thou art King Calypio, put thy wisdom in this matter. Spare them not. They are the curse of the world. I regret that I slew not more of them. My conscience pricketh me for this. Calypio said, man's conscience, being only part of the man, may not err. Is not the conscience dependent for wisdom on other things? And after all, if we have done that which seemed the highest, best thing at the time, have we not fulfilled the law? The king said, it would seem so. Conscience must depend for its errors or its justice on the education it hath received. But may not conscience be a disease in the heart? To regret for not having done a thing, to regret for having done a thing, these are irreplaceable complainings. Whoever can say beforehand and yet not err is wise indeed. I find that no man brought himself into the world, nor can he live but for a short period at most. When we are young, we dislike to die, but my great age, I desire not to live. Evidently, he who created us hath more mastery over us than we have over ourselves. Calypio said, that is true. Man at the best hath not more than half mastery of himself. Yokovarana interrupted, saying, I interrupt thee, my son, because my time is short. I would ask thee, what is the greatest consolation to a dying man? Calypio said, there are two consolations that are great to a dying man. One is to know that he left no heirs after him, and the other is that he leaveth after him a noble son. The king said, thou art wise, my son. I asked the priest in the oracle house the same thing, and he said, for a dying man to have faith that his soul will enter paradise. Thereupon I said to him, no honest man can have such faith, for such a fate would be cheating heaven with one's sins. Were I the creator, I would break the necks of half the world. Still it may please a foolish dying man to tell him such a tale as regardeth his soul. Thou alone, my son, hath told me the greatest consolation to a dying man. My slaves may have faith that they will be kings, but they will wake up in their folly. A man may have faith that his soul will enter paradise, and he may wake up and find it was a mistake. Faith without a guarantee is folly. Calypio said, a man to know a thing of his own knowledge hath the greatest of all wisdom. To be as though art a philosopher in time of death is evidence of a great soul. Few have attained to this. The king said, before thee I am nothing as to wisdom. Thou art a mystery to me. Thy mother, whom the doctor slew to put her out of her misery from long sickness, was not wise. As to myself, I am only great, not wise. I can make men fear me, but thou knowest the secret of love, which is a great thing. Thy name, O Calypio, will be honored long after mine is forgotten. Yet I am the greatest king in all the world, O thou, my most wonderful son. Calypio said, because thou gavest me great learning and a father's kingly care, why should I not be an honor to thee, O king? When thou art in heaven and canst look upon me, I hope thou mayest not lose thy hope for me. The king said, I seemeth not wise to me then angels should see too closely their mortal kin, or else, forsooth, they would never rise up to the higher heavens. The seers say heaven and angels are about us all the while. I think this is a lie, otherwise it would be more hell than heaven to them. After the king rested a while, he said, I have been surmising what to say to thee, for I feel the blood in my veins is nearly stopped. And this maketh me think more than ever that man at best is but a gaming ball for the gods to play with. Who knoweth? Perhaps even now they laugh in their sleeves as to how they can use me for their hellish game. Oh, that man had some standpoint to judge things by. Oh, that he had a measure and a foundation to stand upon. I have searched the spirits of the dead and the gods of the oracles, and they are lies, lies, lies. Calypia said, the small spark of light within our souls is right at the start. And if it be rightly cultivated, it will grow brighter and clearer every day. For it is not in nature of all things to grow by culture. The king said, to rightly cultivate, there is the matter, O my son. To settle the point, the world hath been washed all over with man's blood. Rightly, who knoweth that word? Oh, that my enemies were mistaken and that I was clear in perceiving what was right. Again, he rested a while, and then he said, I had hoped that when death came on, I should get glimpses of what is in store for me, but even death is silent and dark and deceiving. My members weaken evenly. This showeth I was begotten of a good blood. Hadst thou not been my son, I should rejoice more than I do, for then I should know that my family race had run out, and so I should have ascended to the higher heavens. Now I may be obliged to dwell on the earth for a long season, as I understand myself now, with all thy wisdom and thy love. I had rather thou hadst seen some other man's son, then I could die easier and not care so much about leaving thee. I have no other kin. Calypia said, O king, thou hast rented my heart in twain. Of a truth, I am not thy son. When thy wife laid in the dark chamber, the angels of heaven stole me and brought me thither. She who nursed me was my mother, and her husband was my father. I am Brahmin, of Zarathustrian blood, a faithist. The king said, is this true? It cannot be. So call thy nurse. Calypia called in the nurse, and the king said to her, I doom thee to death. I charge thee, is this my son? And is thy husband his father? She answered him, I swoon to Jehovah and cannot answer thee. Therefore sentence me, for I have carried a great load many year. Behold, an angel of heaven appeareth. Jehovah's angel appeared before the king, and they all saw the angel, which said, Calypia is not thy son, O king, and yet no sin hath been committed. Thereupon the angel vanished. The king said, were this not a counterfeit made by the gods? Then it was my angel wife. So Calypia must here end our love. The earth is going fast from me now, Calypia said. Our love will never die. For the good thou hast done for the Zarathustrians, the great spirit will provide thee a home suited to thy great soul. Thou hadst many faults, thou hast more than balanced them. The king beckoned for Calypia and the nurse to come to him. And then he said feebly, it seems to me I hear the gods laughing. Keep ye up the joke. My brother's oldest son knoweth nothing of it. A kingdom is but a farce. Hold me up, Calypia. I would have my eyes feast on the sky only, after having seen thy sweet face. Calypia lifted him up, and the king said to the nurse, I bless thee. Thou broughtest forth a good prop. An Aden, sky Aden. All is something, all is nothing. And the breath went out of him, and he was dead. I tried pausing to get this up. Apparently not. Jehovah said to Calypia, my chosen shall not have kings. I, Jehovah, am king. As through Zarathustra I gave rabbis and chief rabbis, so I have through thee, and their families are my families. Kings and kingdoms of men I give to the unrighteous, for they, perceiving not me, for I am the higher law, shall have that they can perceive, which is a lower law. A kingdom is thrust upon thee. What wilt thou? Calypia said, what shall I do, O Jehovah? Jehovah answered, saying, suffer thyself to be proclaimed at home and in the provinces, after which thou shalt ratify the laws, and then abdicate the kingdom shall fall into other hands. Calypia was proclaimed, and thence after known as King Calypia, and he abdicated, and then Heliopesius became king, and he became obedient to Calypia, so that the latter, thou not king, stood as a protector over the faithless, even greater than Heliopesius. Nor could any laws be enacted affecting the faithless without the consent of Calypia. Jehovah had said, my people shall be a separate people. They shall live under my laws, for I am their king. Now the whole time from Calypia's first beginning of the resurrection of Zarathustrians faithless until establishing a proctorate for them was 5 years. After this, Calypia traveled about east and west and north and south, collecting together the scattered remnants of his people. And he established them in colonies and taught them not only rites and ceremonies, but taught the lost arts of tilling the soil and of making fabrics out of hemp and wool and silk. And he established schools and provided teachers for the people. Calypia said, the first virtue is to learn to find Jehovah in all things and to love and glorify him. The second virtue was cleanliness. All people, old and young, shall bathe once a day. The third virtue is to eat no fish nor flesh, nor other unclean things, for of what profit it is to bathe the outer part if one putteth filth in it. The fourth virtue is industry, because the Father gave man neither feathers, nor hair, nor wool. Let it be testimony of his commandment that man shall clothe himself, to clothe oneself, and to provide oneself with food. These are the enforced industry upon all people. In addition to these, to labor for the helpless, to bathe them and feed them and house them and clothe them. These are the volunteer industries permitted by the Father, that ye may prove your soul's worthiness before him. Without industry, no people can be virtuous. One of the rabbis asked him what industry was. To this, Calypia replied, to keep oneself in constant action to a profitable result. To rise before the sun and bathe and perform their religious rites by the time the sun riseth. To labor thereafter, not severely, but pleasantly, until sunset. This is industry. The industrious man findeth little time for Satan's inspiration. The fifth virtue is of the same kind, which is labor. Thou shalt be no rich amongst you, but all shall labor. As ye develop your corporal bodies unto strengthen by reasonable labor, so doth the act of labor develop the spirit of man to profitable growth for his habitation in heaven. For I declare unto you a great truth, which is the idle and the rich who labor not with the corporal body are born into heaven helpless as babes. The sixth virtue, which is greater than all the rest, is abnegation of oneself. Without abnegation, no man shall have peace of soul, either on earth or in heaven. Consider what thou doest, not that it shall profit thyself, but whether it will benefit others, even as if thou wert not one of them. Without the sixth virtue, no family can dwell together in peace. The seventh virtue is love. Consider when thou speakest whether thy words will promote love. If not, then speak not. And thou shalt have no enemies all the days of thy life. But if thou canst justly say a good thing of any man, be not silent. This is the secret to win many loves. The eighth virtue is discretion, especially in words. Consider well, then speak. If all men would do this, thou wouldst be surprised at the wisdom of thy neighbors. Discretion is a regulator. Without it, man is like a tangled thread. The ninth virtue is system and order. A weak man with the system and order doeth more than a strong man without them. The 10th virtue is observance. With observance, a man accepteth from the ancients such things as have been proven to be good, such as rites and ceremonies. Without observance, a man beginneth back, even with the earliest of the ancients, and thus cappeth aside his profit in the world. The 11th virtue is discipline, the discipline for the individual and the family. He who have not discipline is like a racehorse without a rider. A time to rise, a time to eat, a time to pray, a time to dance, a time to labor. These are good in any man, but the family that practiseth them in unison with one another hath discipline. The 12th virtue is like unto it, and that is obedience. All good and great men are obedient. He that boasteth his disobedience is discipline is a fool and a madman. Greater and better is the weak man of obedience than the strong man of defiance. For the one promoteth the harmony of the family, but the other raptureth it. Consider these 12 virtues, they are sufficient laws unto the whole world. Man may multiply books and laws forever, but they will not make the family, nor colony, nor state happy without the adoption of the 12 virtues. Interesting there. Clippia said, being inspired by Jehovah, let thy life be thy preacher. The behavior of one good man, even in sparse country, is of more avail than 1,000 preachers. The clamor of the tongue maketh speedy converts, but it challengeth not the blood. They perform the rites and ceremonies, but their behavior is not of the 12 virtues. One community family of a score of men and women that dwell together in peace and love, doing good toward one another, is the manifestation of more wisdom than all the books in the world. A man that hath learned sympathy is better learned than the philosopher that will kick a cat or a dog. Great learning is not only in books, but he who hath learned to harmonize with Jehovah hath great learning. The doctrine of idolater is war, but my sons and daughters practice peace, resisting not any man with weapon of death, said Jehovah. My sermons are not in wordy professions, but in the souls of my people who practice my commandments. Ye have witnessed that Sudga's followers said, behold, Sudga is our Lamb of peace. And they were nations of warriors. They built monuments to glorify their greatest slayers of men. My people say little, profess little as regardeth their virtues, but they practice is my voice. Clippia said, whatever should be the character of one man should be the family, community, so should be the state. Harmony in a man's soul is his greatest blessing, and so of the family and of the state. Whoso will sacrifice self-gratification for good of the family is the greatest, best one in the family. Whoso triumphs in self-desire or inflicting on others his opinions or doctrines is the worst bad man in the family. My Father in heaven is thy Father also. All men and women are my brothers and sisters. To magnify one's soul so as to realize this brotherhood is a great virtue. No matter what name he hath, there is nevertheless but one Creator, and all people are his children. Call thou him what name thou wilt. I will not quarrel with thee. I am a child of his love. By love will I prove it unto thee. No man can prove this by war. At death the real life beginneth. Mold thyself well, while this thy soul hath a good anchor, the body. The highest best life in this world findeth the highest best life in heaven. To love thy Father who created thee, virtuous, happiest, is little more than this. The happiness of lust is hate to thy Creator. The man learning to swim had better go in with the corks till he find the stroke. Like this, thy creator gave thee a corporal body. Be not in haste to enter the unseen world. Make sure that thou hast learned the stroke of the resurrection erst thou puttest aside thy flesh and bones. Religion is the learning of music, harmony in a community in which the rabbi is the keynote. Music of two kinds, sounds and assimilation. Dumb instruments may make sound music, but assimilation cometh to the real matter of putting one's behavior in harmony with the community. Good works, who knoweth the meaning of these words? King Yokovana judged the good works of a man by the number of bad men he had slain. When almshouses promote laziness, they are not good works. Preaching and praying and singing are not works. They are the blossoms and with enticing fragrance. Yet Satan persuadeth man that these are good works. Nevertheless, all fruit is preceded by blossoms. The most learned man, the most pious man, and the greatest philosopher cannot tell what is the meaning of the words good works. But a mother with a child 1 day old can tell a farmer that has sowed and reaped one harvest and given half of it away to the less fortunate can tell also. To bring forth out of the earth food or clothing, these are good works, only so far as they exceed one's own requirements and are given to others. To live on the earnings of others, save in time of helplessness, is evil. To preach and not produce substance for others, such a man is a vampire. He selleth sermons and opinions to the ignorant, making believe his words are Jehovah's concerns. The preacher shall dwell with the poor, taking hold with his hands, teaching and helping. He who giveth words only and not labor is a servant of hell. He findeth honeyed words and draweth his voice. He liveth in ease and plenty. He stretcheth out a long face seriously. He is a hypocrite and a blasphemer against his creator. With love and rejoicing and with willing hearts stand thou upright before Jehovah, for thy preaching shall bear witness of joyful light, and thy presence give to the weary and disconsolate assurance that thou art the Creator's Son. Come in earnest to glorify him by righteous works and helping hands. Besides Calippia's book of maxims, the quarter of which is not here related, he also restored the Zoroastrian commandments and the songs of Vivinho. Nor since 2,000 years were the children of Jehovah so well standing before the world, and the peace and plenty came upon the land of Vinu, even greater than in the days of Brahma. Those close the history of Calippia, who was led in all things by Jehovah through his angels, even to the words he uttered, though oft he knew it not. Such is to walk with the Creator. Now, whilst this was going on in Vinu, the Creator also labored through his angels in the land of Egypt with Moses, of whom hear ye. And we're going to end that portion of the book here. And then I'm going to go to the top because that next part is important to our story. Here comes butchering of names. Sorry, guys, I do apologize to those who really like this book. We're going to do our best here, but there's a lot here. The 5 gods' names were Ani, Jack, Lay, Ol, and Yith. Lika said unto them, Ye have been herefore crowned as gods. Come ye to the foot of Jehovah's throne, for I will crown you with new names. When they came to the place designated, Lika continued, Take my crown upon thy head, and speak thou in Jehovah's name in that labor which I put upon thee, Jehovah in Ani, Jehovah in Yek, Jehovah in Lay, Jehovah in Ol, Jehovah in Yith. And thereupon Lika crowned them with a band on the head, inscribed Inan, Injek, Inlay, Inlol, Inlinth. Anunnaki, anybody? panic names designating their rank and their age of the earth in which these things came to pass. Like I said, to each and every one I give my own Etherean host 10 million laborers for the period of dawn. And these are the laborers I allot unto you to inane, to go down to the earth, to the land of Vinu, and be inspirer upon my mortal son, Calypia, and his followers, to inlay, to go down to the earth, to the land of Jaeth, and to be inspirer unto my son Shin, and to his followers, to enol, to go down to the earth, to the land of Egypt, and be inspired to my son Moses and his followers. And ye three shall restore the faithless in these great divisions of the earth unto liberty and safety. And thou in all shalt deliver Moses and the faithless out of Egypt, and shape their course westward, for they shall circumscribe the earth and complete it by the time of Cosmon. To Ingjek, to go down to the earth, to Parisi and Helesti, and provide those peoples to liberate the slaves who are faithless, whom thou shalt inspire to migrate to Moses and his people. To Inyith, to go down to the earth, to Jaeth and Vinu and Arabia, to inspire the scattered faithless to those lands, to come together to the great lights of Calypia, Sheen, and Moses. And ye shall take with you of my host, whom I brought from Etheria, and labor ye together as one man. And when dawn hath ended, ye shall repair hither, and be raised up into my Nirvanian kingdoms. Nevertheless, ye shall not leave Jehovah's chosen alone, but provide angel successors unto them. And herein I give you a new law unto all my angel hosts, who shall hereafter dwell with the faithless on the earth, which is, that successors shall always be provided by the retiring hosts, they have departed, for the faithless shall not more be left alone for a long season. The chosen five then said, in thy name and wisdom and power, O Jehovah, we will go forth in joy to fulfill thy commandments. Because we lost the earth, thou hast given it into our hands to redeem it and glorify thee. And thereupon Lika proclaimed the day of recreation so the host could be selected. The 50 million to which labor the marshals fell to, helping the chosen. During the recreation, the atmospherians explained to the Etherians how laid the lands of the earth, and the heavens thereunto belonging. And then after a season of prayer and singing, and a season of dancing, the recreation was brought to a close. After labor was resumed, the chosen five with their hosts saluted before their throne of Jehovah, and then withdrew and went to the vessels which had been previously prepared for them, and embarked and departed for the earth. Jehovah spake to Lika, saying, appointed thou other servants unto me for the other great divisions of the earth, and for the islands and the oceans of the earth, and give unto them each 10 million of my servants, which thou broughtest from Nirvana. And they shall go down amongst mortals, and by inspiration and otherwise collect together in groups the scattered faithless who worship me. And thy servants shall also provide successors to come after them, to abide with mortals, making the seasons of watch short unto them, and that they shall be weary thereof. Then Lika appointed Tichau, Miyak, Gichi, Giif, Ali, and Siwa, and allotted them to different divisions of the earth. And he gave them each 10 millions of the hosts brought from Orion worlds. And these were selected after the same manner as the previous ones, and they also saluted and departed for the earth. Again, Jehovah spake in the light of the throne, saying, because many are risen in wisdom and truth, I have Christian for my holy place unto them, and it shall be the region for my brides and bridegrooms at the resurrection of dawn. But at the end thereof it shall be divided and subdivided, that none may find the place of my standing. For it hath come to pass that man on earth, learning the name of one of my heavens, glorifieth it, and aspire to rise to it, but to rise to no other heaven. Because my true gods taught man of hoard. In the early days, man desired hoard, Whereupon my enemies, the false gods, each one cried out, Behold, my heavenly place is whored. I am the all heavenly ruler. Come hither to me. For by this means the name I gave in truth was usurped and made as a snare to enslave my earthborn. And I will not more give to mortals a name any of my heavenly places, nor shall there be taught any of the heavens save the higher and the lower heavens, which shall designate my ethereal and atmospherian heavens. And by these terms shall men on earth be fortified against the stratagems of false heavenly rulers. And man shall perceive that when angels or men or gods or saviors say, Come ye unto me, and I will give you of my heavenly kingdom, that they are false, and but tyrants to enslave my people. But if they say, Go ye, serve the Great Spirit, and not me, for I am only a man as thou art, then shall it be known that they are my Nirvanian hosts. And if they say, Come ye to this heaven or that heaven, for with me only is the light, it shall be testimony against them. But if they say, Verily, Jehovah is with thee, cultivate thyself within him, and thou shalt find delight in all worlds, then shall be testimony that are from my emancipated heavens. Like it said, 70 new kingdoms shall ye find in the lowest heaven, where ye shall begin again with schools and colleges and factories, teachings and spirits of the dead, the requirements for resurrection. 200 million of my Orion angels shall be allotted to these 70 heavenly places, and during dawn it shall be their work to carry out these commandments, and they shall provide for successors after them, who shall continue for another season, and they shall provide yet another successor, and so on, until the coming of the Cosmon era. Lika then selected 200 million angels and divided them into 70 groups and companies around about the earth in the lowest heaven. And after they were duly officered and organized, they saluted before the throne of Jehovah and departed to their several places. Then came the voice of Jehovah to Lika, saying, Behold, of the 500 million are still left 175 million. This then is the work thou shalt put upon them. They shall begin at one end of Hada and go to the other, delivering all the hells of the false gods as they go, untying the knots thereof and providing passage for the Judras into one great plateau. For as the false gods began in confederacy, I will bring them back into confederacy, even all of them that are cast into hell. And though thou shalt officer them safely, and when they are thus established, behold, thou and thy Rapon hosts shall go and rise them up and deliver them into an Aegean forest of Tuparist, where they shall be inhabited and begin a new life of righteousness and love. And Anuhazi, once crowned Lord God, shall be over them, and Osiris and Suga and Tien and all the other confederated gods shall be under him. For even as these gods labor to cast me out, behold, I give unto them their harvest. Then Lika commissioned the 175 million Etherians and offered them, and sent them into the Hadian regions of the earth to deliver the hells thereof. Jehovah said to Lika, The rest of thy 800 million shall remain in Theoverchristian, however you say that, for the labor here is sufficient for them, and so they remained. The Rapon host desired to see Ahura, and so Lika sent an arrow ship with 100,000 angels properly officered to Vara Purushna to Ahura, praying to him to come to visit for 10 days, bringing his 10,000 attendants with him. And it thus came to pass that Ahura came to Theoverchristian, where he was most honorably received and saluted under the sign Morning of Jehovah's Light. And he in turn answered to the sign, My word shall serve his sons and daughters. Accordingly, Lika came down from the throne and greeted Ahura, saying to him, Come thou then and stand in the midst of the throne, that thy voice may delight the holy council. So Ahura ascended the throne, along with Lika. And when the latter sat down, then Ahura walked to the midst and saluted the holy council with the sign fire and water, and he spake, saying, because thou, O Jehovah, hast called me into the sign of the morning of thy light, behold, I'm risen before thee to speak to thy sons and daughters. But how should I clear myself, O Father? I am one who had a hidden skeleton, and the place of concealment broken down, because I was by thee created alive in thy world. Why should I not have forever glorified thee? This have I asked myself all the days of my life, but thou troublest not to answer me in my curiosity. When I was young in life, lo, I cried unto thee, complaining because thou madest me not wise. I said, behold, thou createst all the animals on the face of the earth, to know more than I in the day of my birth. Yea, I knew not where to find suck, nor could I rise up on my feet, but laid as I was laid down by my nurse, even to the lambs and the calves and the young colts. Thou gavest greater wisdom and strength than thou gavest thy servant. I said, why then shall I glorify thee, or sing songs in thy praise? Why shall I pray unto thee? Thy ways are unalterable, and thy voice answered me not. Thou art void as the wind, thou art neither person nor wisdom nor ignorance. And as for thy servants, who say they hear the voice, behold, they are mad. I say, how can a man hear thee? It is the reflection of himself he heareth. How can man see thee? It is the reflection of himself he seeth. And thou sufferest me to become strong, as to strengthen wise, as to self, even as I had called unto thee in my vanity. Yeah, I prided myself in thyself. And as to thee, I sought to disprove thee on all hands. And the worthliness of my prayer unto thee I showed up as a great vanity. Yeah, I crave wisdom for the sake of showing thou wert neither wise nor good. And to this end thou also gavest me, and I become conceit in hiding my conceit, even from my own understanding, that I might carry all points. I pointed to the full, saying, behold, Jehovah's son. I pointed to the desert place, saying, behold, Jehovah's fruitful earth. To the mountain which is rocks and barren, saying, behold, how Jehovah hath finished his works. And of the evil man who murdered his brother, I say, Jehovah good in one thing, good in all. But I knew not the hand that was upon me. Thou wert answering my prayer every day. Yeah, I ventured to judge thee with my eyes and my ears and my own understanding. In the place I stood, I judged thee and thy works, O Jehovah. And the craft of my speech won applause. By flattery was I puffed up. And I deemed my judgment the right one. And whoso saw not as I saw, I condemned or pitied. Yeah, I craved great speech, that I might show them up in their folly. And in this thou also answereth me by giving freely, and my words were reckoned great words and wise. And I was quoted and praised far and near. Yeah, and I practiced good works, that I might show unto others that even in such like a belief in thee was vanity and was a waste of judgment. Yeah, I craved means and great treasures, that I might render good unto others, in order that my own philosophy might seem the highest of the high. And even in this, thou renderest unto me great treasures and ample means, and by my good works done unto others, I was applauded as a great and good God above all others. I craved a heavenly kingdom, that I might prove my great wisdom and power unto thousands of millions. For I pitied them that I thought foolishly dwelt in darkness in regard to thee. And even yet thou, O Jehovah, didst not cut me off, but gavest me a great kingdom of 7,000 million. And I taught them my philosophy that was nothing above them, that thou, O Jehovah, sawest not, heardest not, answerest not. Yeah, I made my will all powerful, that I might cut them off from thee. But alas, from me, I had been as the sylph of old who stole into the musical instruments and put them out of tune. My kingdom was divided into 7,000 million philosophers, everyone mad in his own conceit and in a different way. There was no harmony against them. Yeah, they were a kingdom of growlers and cursers. I had carried away the tuning fork, for I had cast thee out, O Jehovah. My own philosophy had done it all, because I set myself up as the all highest. Thou didst indulge me, and I became the highest God of my people. Yeah, they cast their plaudits on me at first, but afterward all their ills and their curses. Neither could I satisfy them in anything in heaven or on earth, nor could I turn them off from me, for I had bound them unto me by my great promises. I became as one in a cloud because of the great trouble upon me and the fear withal. And yet thou, Jehovah, doest not forgive me, but sent thy God's words unto me, imploring me what to do, that I might be delivered in season. But how could I hear thee, O Jehovah, or hearken unto thy gods? Behold, my pride had swallowed me up, and I was encompassed on every side, because I had denied thee before, I must deny thee still. Then greater darkness came upon me. Thy light was obstructed by the walls I had built against thee. Verily, I had cut myself off from thee. Then came the crash, as if heaven and earth was rent asunder. I was cast into the chasm. My kingdom was upon me. The leadership and vanity I sown had cast me into hell. I was in death, but could not die. A knot was bound upon me. Foul-smelling slaves were clenched upon me. Millions of them, tens of millions, and the shafts of their curses pierced my soul. I was once lacerated and bound in salt, choked and suffocated with foul gas. But yet thou, O Jehovah, didst not desert me, but did hold my judgment from flying away into chaos. And thy voice came to me in the time of my tortures, came as the argument of the Most High. It was like myself that spake to myself, saying, He that forever casteth away all things can never be bound in hell. He that craveth and holdeth fast is already lying in the foundation for torments. And I cried out unto thee, O Jehovah, saying, Oh, that I had possessed nothing, nor talents, nor craft, nor philosophy, that I had told these wretches to go to thee, O Jehovah. Oh, that I had told them, thou alone couldst bless them or supply them. But I sought to lead them, and lo, they are upon me. Oh, that I could be freed from them, that I could turn about in its opposite way from my former years, having nothing, craving nothing, but a right to serve thee, O my Father. Thou didst send the gods into the depths of hell, and they delivered me. And I made oath unto thee, O Jehovah, to serve thee forever. And thou gavest me labor, and I bowed myself down to the labor for thy judras, with all my wisdom and the strength forever. And thy hand came upon me, and gave me great power, power even over my own soul, to create happy thoughts. Why should I not praise thee, O my Father? Thou gavest me liberty in all my ways, and didst answer me according to my desires. Neither once hast thou turned away from me, nor afflicted me, but because of my own vanity I cut myself off from thee. Yet thou hast shown me that to glorify thee to the foundation of the highest happiest, to sing to thee in the greatest delight, to praise thee in the highest wisdom. Hereat Ahura halted in his speech a while, and still standing in the midst of the throne, burst into tears. Presently he said, Ahazi was my good friend. He was who since took the name Deus, and afterward proclaimed himself the creator. I wept in pity for him. He is in hell now. He was my best friend in the time of my darkness, and after I was delivered out of hell, he came and labored with me, full of repentance and love. Often we rested in each other's arms. Afterward, he traveled far and near thy great heavens, O Jehovah. And when he returned to this earth's heaven, He came not to see me, and I was brokenhearted because of my great love for him. Then he founded his heavenly place and called it Horde. And I called it out to thee, O Jehovah, as to what message I should send him. For I foresaw his kingdom would be broken up and himself ultimately cast into hell. And thou gavest me liberty to send him a message in my own way, and in anguish of my broken heart, I sent him a message saying in substance, I have no longer any love for thee. And I chid him and upbraided him because he came not to see me to gratify my burning love. And he foretold him the great darkness and the hell that would come upon him, even as they now are. Now I do repent, O Jehovah, that I sent him such a message. For nearly 2,000 years my message hath been to me as I swallowed a living coal of fire. Horus ceased, Lika spake, saying, because thou hast pleaded for Deus, thou hast turned the Etherian host to him. To thee I allot the restoration of Deus, alas, Anahazi. My host will, in the proper time, take thee to the hell, where he is bound, and thou shalt be the first to receive him. Lika then proclaimed a day of recreation, for there were millions of Etherians who desired to meet Ahura and greet him with love and praise. And we're going to leave that there, guys, as I'm cross-eyed dropping pencils and having a hard time projecting, as my book doesn't want to stay anywhere. There we go. Sorry, guys. I'm a mess. I'm getting hot again. So thank you all for coming, and next time we will get onto that Moses story. That should be very interesting. Sorry for the length of time that these readings are coming. I am doing the best that I can in getting content out and doing readings. But as you can see, allergy season is started and I'm trying different things. So I am not so stuffy and muffled and having a hard time projecting words out, period, even if I can speak them. So please don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe if you have yet to do so. Check out my website. All the links are in the description box and ways you can help me keep doing this. I am on an active job hunt as I need some income. Things are getting a little scary. So anything helps. Thank you guys so much. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, protection, and shielding energy. Please be safe and be seen. I hope all of you have a beautiful rest of your weekend. And until the next one, guys, have a great one. Blessings. Bye, guys.